Welcome back
Here we are.
to Death Before Booze. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Sam.
Okay, so we're still on our little road trip. We're still in the Southwest, so this is Southwest Part 2. And I do have some facts for us. So I literally just said this to Jen. But I couldn't find any, good facts about the Southwest in general. So one fact is that the big rock at the bottom of the Grand Canyon is 2 billion years old, which is pretty cool. And the other facts was there's a lot of desert. Part of the Southwest is actually part of Mexico, and there are Native Americans over there. And I'm like, wow, these are great facts. I even put in crazy facts, spooky facts, weird facts, and nothing came up. So we're going to go back to Las Vegas because that's in the Southwest, and I'm going to give you 10 quick ones. Ready?
Woohoo.
So, facts about Las Vegas, because I love Las Vegas. I got married there. There are estimated to be at least 1,000 people living beneath Las Vegas in underground tunnels. Michael Jackson had planned to build a 50-foot tall moonwalking robot replica of himself to roam the Las Vegas desert, and it was intended to be an advertisement for his planned 2005 comeback tour. Womp. In 1980, a Las Vegas hospital had to suspend workers who were betting on when patients would die. One nurse was even accused of murdering a patient so she could win. It's like they had their own Deadpool.
I'm not surprised.
But how do you get caught? How do you get caught?
I killed him so that I'd win the pool.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She had 20 minutes left and magically he died. What?
Oh my god, that's so messed up.
That's so fucked. It would take 288 years for one person to spend one night in every hotel room in Las Vegas.
Huh.
Contrary to popular belief, prostitution in Las Vegas is not legal. And that's actually true. It's only that one little spot where that ranch is. What is that called? The Kitty Cat Ranch or something? They had a show on HBO, remember that? Anyway.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Frederick W. Smith, who is the founder and CEO of FedEx, saved his company by gambling in Vegas. He took FedEx's last $5,000 to Sin City and won $27,000 while gambling on blackjack, paying for the company's $24,000 outstanding fuel bill.
Wow. Good for him.
According to suppliers, Vegas bingo players' favorite color ink daubers are purple. Mine's blue, in case anybody wanted to know. Water structures in Las Vegas, like fountains and man-made lakes, use something called gray water, which is recycled water from sinks, bathtubs, and showers. Ew. Okay, so there's a place in Vegas, in downtown, it's called Heart Attack Grill. A man actually did suffer a heart attack while eating at Heart Attack Grill. I'm sure the restaurant's promise that any diner over 350 pounds eats for free didn't help their reputation. They have this huge scale out front, and if you step on it and you weigh over 350 pounds, you eat for free. How fucking crazy.
That's fucked.
And, yeah, that's weird. And then the last fact I'm going to read is the Las Vegas Strip is the brightest place on Earth when looked at from outer space.
I can believe that.
Yeah, so
those are fun.
Those are your fun facts about Las Vegas because I couldn't find any fun, scary, cool, spooky, weird facts about the Southwest in general, so you're welcome.
Except there's desert there.
It's hot.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it was this gets 10 inches of rain a year. It's okay, you're in a desert.
All
we
right.
figured it out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love
I kind of wanted, the top 10 scariest places. I would have read off that list. But I couldn't find it. There was one about, Montana. And I was so there's one list about scary places in Montana. I've never even been there. I can't relate. So.
Well, that's the north. That's the Northwest. So
maybe I'll find that for next week.
Well, here we are in the Southwest again.
Tell me a story.
And I go first.
Yep.
So I actually went to Texas this time. So
Tejas.
we're going to be in Mart, Texas, and I went back to true crime because when I was having some trouble with this, so I'm more on the team death the next couple weeks, Sam was like, why don't you do something about this, this, and this? And I'm like, that's right, I am good at researching those things because Sam gets uncomfortable.
Oh my god, I fucking hate doing true. Like, when I did Villisca, I literally did Villisca because I was like, I need to tell this story so you understand the hauntings that are happening in Villisca and why they're so, like, apparent, like, what it really is. So, like, I felt like I needed to cover the murder part.
But
it hurt my soul. Like, I never want to do that again. I'm like, ew, he hit them how many times? No, I don't like
meanwhile,
it.
me, I'm like, it's
well,
like
the trajectory of the blood splatter would be blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, you're so, and I'm like, ew, blood. I like when they're already decomposed. Can't they have their ghost
like
suit on?
It's like the memes on Instagram where it's like, your girl watches serial killer documentaries to unwind. There's something wrong with her, and I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I watch ghosty shows to calm the fuck down, and other people are like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I'm happy."
They're fun. Everything's
so fun. Everyone's fun. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. So, Mart, Texas, which I didn't even know was a thing, has a population of about 1,170 people.
Wow.
So, and it's the typical Friday Night Lights type of town. So, Friday night, you go to the football game. That's life.
Got it.
In Texas, which makes sense. Jacob, who is 20, and Sabian, who is 21, I believe, they're cousins. Super close. Sabian ended up playing at a close rivalry school, so like a 10-20 minute drive, Rizal. So they both played football, but on opposite teams. Okay, so it is one of those Murder Under the Friday Night Lights. So if you do end up watching that on HBO.
Oh, I was waiting to hear Lifetime. This sounds like a Lifetime movie.
Yeah. So I'll put the episode and the season in there for you guys if you wanted to watch it. Jacob's house was said to be kind of like the hangout for a lot of people. Some say that Sabian was living with the family, so it was Jacob, his parents, his siblings, and his cousin Sabian. Other sources say no. It's very difficult because as I was researching this particular double murder, a lot of sources said different things. So I'm going to probably mention like some sources say a lot. So,
okay.
So anyway, Jacob's home. Parents loved having kids there. I get it. I have 2 younger brothers also, so like that was like the hangout spot. My parents were like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. There are 2 other friends that they were like basically brothers from another mother. Shatydrick, who is also named as Woola. I'm going to call him Woola because Shatydrick is just like, it's a tongue twister. It's very cool.
Yeah. Good name, yeah. But like I couldn't imagine trying to be drunk and calling him like.
That's why Woola is his football nickname. So of course, like
yeah, that makes sense.
And Zamar, who's 22, so he's a little bit older than the other 3 boys. So they did play football together, but he graduated, and the other boys were still in high school, so they had just graduated and all that. Jacob and Sabian had been accepted to college, so they were planning to go. They're kind of planning to be successful, all that. Zamar, when he had graduated high school, he secured a football scholarship to the University of Houston.
Fuck yeah, bitches!
So many believed he was so talented, even like the coaches and everything say that he had the ability to possibly go into the NFL because that's how great he was.
Yeah.
So, but Zamar struggled academically because, again, there's 2 parts to the coin when you have a scholarship.
Yeah, ain't that the
truth? You have to maintain both. So he was also dismissed from the team in 2020 because of violation of team rules. So here's what happened. In 2019, he was arrested on charges of carrying a gun without a license.
Uh-oh, that's a big one.
And he was caught with a little too much weed. So not necessarily like just using type of thing, but a little bit too much like a selling type of situation.
I'd be like, tax me on it, bitches.
I honestly think the gun thing was a little bit more what the school was more concerned about.
I mean, I could see that. I get it. I mean, I understand. Right. Would have been better if, like, the serial number had already been chiseled off, too. That really would have been icing on the cake, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It would have really solidified everything.
I mean, if you're going to go big, bro. Like, really fuck those laws over. Sorry.
So he returned to Mart, and when he did come back, he was just withdrawn. It seemed like he was choosing, according to one former teammate, like the quote thug life, where it was like, I'm big and bad, I can do, whatever. But his friends weren't into that. They were planning to go to college. They were planning to get actual careers, and maybe not to do with football, maybe not playing football, but at the very least still kind of doing that. So some people speculated that Zamar was a little jealous of the fact that they had this bright future ahead of him, and he kind of
was falling behind in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
so
sucks.
There was also that tension that was in there. So then we get to April 17th, 2021. The boys are hanging out at Jacob's house. Apparently there was some kind of a field party. I guess I'm not from Texas, so people from Texas, I guess it's kind of like a...
Is that where you go into the field and you drink beer and tip over the cows? Is that what that is? I'm from New Jersey. We don't know what that is. Can you tell me?
We're from New England, so I don't know what a field party is. I'm assuming it's like if you've seen Freddy vs. Jason at the very beginning when they're all in like the cornfield and they're just kind of drinking and having a good time.
Yeah, that's what I picture. They have like a bonfire and like people go and hide in the corn and have sex.
Yeah, that's kind of what I picture. So Zamar was going to go, but the rest of the boys were like, you know what, you're not really with that scene, so we're not going to attend. Fine. So he left at some point. In the early morning hours, so around like 2 in the morning, 1:32, cops were called to the home because they had said a shooting had occurred. So...
Wait, at the party or at a house?
No, at Jacob's house.
Jacob's house. Okay, I'm back.
Yes. Zamar was the only one who went to this supposed field party. Again, I think it
Hey guys.
The rest of them were like...
I'm so sorry. I know I'm like in my 30s, but if you're going to throw a field party, can you like invite us? Because I really want to like experience this.
I just want to know.
I just want to know. Like...
I just want to know.
I won't even push over your cow. Like, I have a feeling that's part of it, but that seems mean. I'll pet the cow, but I really just, like, this isn't going to go away from my head unless I say it. If you have a field party and you want to invite me, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Go back to people and shootings. I'm sorry.
So, unfortunately, this was a shooting at Jacob's house.
Oh, no.
So, they went into the house. The cops came. Jacob was found face down, dead on the floor.
Ooh.
And he was shot 3 times in the back. Sabian was shot twice, once in like the middle of the head area and on the right side of the neck, and he was like kind of in bed. So people speculated he might have been asleep and kind of like this
kill shot. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. No.
Jacob's father had heard some kind of disturbance because him and mom were upstairs. His sister was upstairs. So he heard something and he went to go check on the boys. This is when he found the 2 in Jacob's room, the way that they were dead. And he's like, I knew that they were dead when I got there. So he immediately was kind of searching, going around. Mom rushed downstairs and was a disaster. She was holding Jacob in her lap, to the point where the dad was telling her, like, you can't contaminate the...
Yeah, this is a crime scene.
And I get that, but, like, as someone, like, that's your baby that
oh my God.
Was gone.
Yeah.
So it ended up being his sister who ended up calling the cops to say, hey, my brother's been shot. My brother and my cousin been shot. Some sources speculate that there was an interaction with dad and the killer. It doesn't really kind of make sense because dad recalled, I went downstairs, I saw nobody but these 2. So the other 2 boys, so Zamar, who had been there at one point, and Woola, who had been there at one point, were gone. So it was just Jacob and Sabian. A 9mm Glock with an extended magazine was found at the scene, and there were bloody footprints found. They were sock prints, so somebody is not wearing shoes as they're wandering around.
Ew.
It's gross.
You stepped in blood in your sock foot. I don't even know if it's worse that it's like you had a sock on or that it wasn't like which do you think would be worse, stepping in blood in your sock or stepping in blood in like bare feet? Because I kind of feel like a sock is worse almost.
I feel like a sock is worse because it's you know.
Ew, I hate it. No. And I think it's kind of cowardly right now. I'm sorry. This has really been in my head. Like, you shot one kid while he was sleeping, and the other kid was obviously running away, and you shot him. Like,
in the back.
Fucking coward.
Right? Like, so
who did this? I'm going to call them an asshole. Wait, tell me later, but they're fucking...
We'll get there.
I hate him.
So, the police asked the family who was in the house, because we need to, find the other boys. So, they were looking for Woola, because he was the last one there. They searched, and it just so happened that a neighbor has a camera, they said. I'm assuming it's like a ring camera.
Yeah.
Yes. So it showed the time of events. A car passes by the house at 1:16 a.m., stops, and somebody exits the car. And that person is heard yelling for Jacob to let them in. It's like, let me the fuck in. Then you hear 6 gunshots in succession at 1:30 in the morning. And you could hear it. Like, it's very crazy. The footage that they had, like, you hear poof, poof, poof.
I don't believe that. Yeah.
They find Woola because now that they have camera evidence, they're like, okay, clearly this kid might have been in the house during that time. So they brought him in. He said he wasn't present because at the time of the murders, he had left the house to go to the convenience store, which is about a 20-minute walk.
Did he have his socks on?
Yeah, he had shoes on, so yes.
Okay.
He was. This was confirmed. The surveillance cameras at the convenience store saw him. On the way home, as he was coming back, he heard the shots, but he didn't know where they were coming from. And actually, in the video that the neighbor has, you can see the light of a cell phone. So, like, you could see him kind of walking and then stop. And then continue towards the house.
Oh, because he heard the shots. Like, he was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, oh my God.
So he still continued towards the house. Once he got in, he saw Jacob first. But he didn't realize he was dead. He just kind of, like, did a quick look. He also found Zamar, who was dropped off earlier. He had left, and he got dropped off. He was acting extremely erratic, according to Woola. He was wandering around the house with bloody socks.
No, bloody socks. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. So Woola kind of looked at him and was like, I'm yeeting the fuck out of here. So
yeah, me too.
Because, again, what the fuck? You don't know what's happening.
Can I yeet off too? I don't like it.
Right? So Zamar, because Woola's like, I left because I was fearful of my life. They searched for Lamar. He went, he was arrested. They went with him willingly. Now, the whole town knew this kid. He was a star football player. The cops knew him, and as he was coming in, even one of the cops said he wasn't really acting like himself. He was kind of sounding weird. During the questioning, he had said, I was afraid someone was going to kill me. He did have the bloody socks on, so no shoes. And he also had blood stains or blood splatter on his pants. So clearly this, they're like, okay, this kid's looking pretty good.
Why didn't Whaley call the police? Like, he had a cell phone. Why didn't he call when he ran? I would have.
Honestly, I would have. But I guess being that
then again, you're like freaking out. Like, I got to get away from this kid. He's deranged.
He's in his early 20s, I guess. And like, I don't know. I feel like it would be something we would do. But him just kind of going like, holy fuck. Like, I see my friends on the floor. I don't know if they're alive or dead. I see my other friend in front of me.
With bloody fucking socks.
Right. And like, I'm terrified right now. So he just kind of was like, I have no idea. I don't know why he wouldn't have called the police.
I wonder if he went into the house with just socks on or if he had the wherewithal to take his shoes off so he didn't like track in mud. These socks are like really fucking with me.
It's fine. It's kind of like your Lizzie Borden case where I was like, the eyeball is the thing that I got stuck on.
Where's the eye? Like, how is the eyeball not in the right? Like, it's over here. Go on Patreon, listen to Lizzie Borden. But like,
the socks is
the sock. I can't get like. I think it's an absolute atrocity to step in water when you're wearing socks. You're wearing
right because then you're like, ew, and it's squishy, and now it's
God,
it's
ew.
Now it's sticky. Like, water's not sticky.
Oh God, it's like stepping in dog shit.
Blood's sticky.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
Oh, I hate it. I'm so sorry. I hate it.
So they brought him in for questioning. Obviously, they arrested him at that time. I don't exactly know what happened between here and the year later, because I guess they were waiting for trial. They were preparing him for trial. Apparently, Zamar had done some LSD, which he had never done before. So while he's on this hallucinogenic drug, this is what happened. So he lawyered up pretty fast. A year later is when the next few events take place. I'm assuming because it takes a long time with anything that they were like, he's in jail. They're still working on the case and getting evidence. I don't know. So this is where Zamar's cousin, Kevin, comes in. Kevin already had run-ins with the law. According to some people who lived around the area, he had gang affiliations as well. So he was incarcerated because he had a recent shootout with Waco officers over something. So Kevin is talking to the police, and he says he killed Jacob and Sabian. And here's why. He said Sabian had made sexual advances towards Zamar. Zamar told Kevin this and said, "Man, I want to kill that guy." And Kevin said, "Let me handle it.
Do less. I got you, boo." Like, I'm sorry. Okay, your friend in your little friend group made a sexual advance. Like, let's all be real. We've all been in high school where, like, you know, your friend group kind of, whether it be male, female, whatever you like, you know, why can't you just, like, be like, all right, I need to distance myself because this makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
Why do we have to, like, kill somebody over it? And why would he just leave Zamar, like, walking around in bloody fucking socks?
Mm-hmm.
What a shitty cousin.
This is where it didn't make any sense to police, because they're like, what? All right. So they're kind of looking a little bit more. Kevin was seen at the hotel across from Jacob's home the morning after the murder. So they're like, okay, so he was in the area. But let's kind of dig a little bit deeper and push a little bit harder. So they asked Kevin, tell us what happened. Kevin says, you know, I went through this whole thing. No one was home when I shot the two boys. Well, that's a negative because the parents and the sister were home. He said, I only shot them once. That's also a negative because Jacob was shot 3 times in the back and Sabian was shot twice. Police then said to him, okay, tell us what kind of gun you used. Like what? And they gave him a bunch of options. Not one of the options was the Glock. They gave him a whole bunch of different ones. He chose one of those options, which was not the right gun. So police were like, this is, he's trying to take the fall for his cousin. Because it doesn't make any sense. And also all of the forensic evidence, Zamar's DNA was on there. They checked gunshot residue because... because some places really do believe it's like an actual thing. Yeah. Where was that? Those dumb motherfuckers. I think
I hated that. Missouri. Mm-hmm.
My heart goes out to them because I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
What the fuck?
But yeah, so
isn't it? Oh.
That just threw me. So now, I actually, when I was reading up on another case, prisoners are given tablets, like kind of like a cell phone type of thing to communicate with family and stuff, but everything on there is monitored. So whatever they text or whatever. So in text, Zamar admitted to the crime and said if he wasn't high at the time, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Kevin, for trying to throw a wrench in here, but no, it's not a no. Like we got our guy.
Yeah.
So now in 2023, so super recent, the trial ends because I guess he didn't plead guilty. They're trying to do the whole, maybe, I don't know, like the drug-induced state. The defense also tried to push Kevin's confession, saying, well, look, his cousin said he did it. And the prosecution's like, yeah, but look at all of, no.
One of these things just doesn't belong here.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the trial ends, and jurors really deliberated for 2 hours, and they found him guilty of capital murder. Now, I found out, and this is very interesting, because different states do different things. Texas has 2 types of murder: capital and regular. Okay. Regular murder is you can have a possibility of parole.
Yeah.
If you're convicted of capital murder, there's no possibility of parole, because of the fact that there's a possible death penalty on the table. Well, the death penalty was denied, and they're like, okay, fine, he gets capital murder charges, fine, whatever. The crazy thing was, Zamar was offered a deal where he would get the possibility of parole in 30 years.
Okay.
He denied it.
Did he feel guilty? Like, I deserve this, maybe I'll stay?
I don't know. I guess maybe his defense lawyers were like, well, we're gonna push the fact that your cousin, and we're gonna say, you were in a drug-induced state and whatever. So maybe they were trying to say, I don't know why you wouldn't take it, because if he's 22,
you'd be out by
30
50
years, you still have a life.
And let's be real, once you get told you're up for parole, if
Yeah.
you're a model inmate and there's overcrowding at some point,
right?
You could get off in less than that. Like, let's all be honest, it happens all the time. You could have gotten off in 18 to 25. You could have shaved off time. Wow.
So the fact that he chose not to take the deal, he went to trial and they said capital murder. So he has no possibility of parole ever. So he's in there for life.
I hope they change his socks. I can't get over the socks.
I think, and then when they did talk to Kevin later, Kevin was like, I didn't want him to ruin his life the way I had. So I was trying to take the fall so he would have a life to live.
I was kind of thinking that, like, in my head, like, honor amongst thieves almost. Like, it's not the best way. I mean, his cousin probably was like, this wasn't him, he was on LSD. Like, that's not an excuse in my opinion, but, like, you're still like, he's a young kid, he can have his life, I've done a lot of bad things, I can take it. He probably thought, my little cousin can't stomach
and the idea that he had the football scholarship, like he could continue to do something good with his life. This was a mistake. This was something that wasn't, but it just, they were like, we can't, that's not, no, it doesn't work that way in justice. It doesn't work like, take me instead.
It's
I
admirable.
volunteer.
Yeah, I volunteer as tribute. It's admirable, honestly, like, but at the same time, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both Jacob's mother and sister read impact statements, saying Zamar didn't really show any remorse despite being treated like family. And Jacob's sister had said, people blame it on the drugs, and, like, sure, you can do that, but, like, there's a point when you have to go, okay, like, he had the weapon, okay, he had, and something went in his head, there's no real motive, and that's the really crazy thing about this particular case, is that the motive isn't really there. Like, why kill your 2 friends that have treated you like family?
Yeah.
So it was a drug-induced state, sure, but, like, not having the weapon, not being intoxicated, those would have been a completely different story. So, but even so, the families were like, you literally sat across from us from dinner. We did everything we could. Some sources even suggested that when Zamar came back after college and was kind of down and out, Jacob's family took him in and offered him a place to stay. So it's heartbreaking. So some sources even recall that Zamar showed zero emotion when the verdict was read, and he was even seen in some photos kind of blowing kisses to his family members as they were leaving the courtroom. So that's kind of where you get the, is there remorse in here or no? And maybe that's the reason why he chose not to take the deal. But, like, bro, take the goddamn deal.
I would have taken that fucking deal.
Now you're fucked.
Yeah.
Now you're fucked. Because you're right. There's a possibility you get out earlier.
Like,
30 years.
Yeah. How many like rape murders have we covered where, you know, it's like 20 to life and they get out in 11 years?
Yeah.
Like,
and then they fuck up again.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like, my thought process here is, like, I don't think he would fuck up again, but still, you can't say, oh, it's because of the drugs. Like, there's something didn't work.
Yeah.
And he deserves absolutely punishment for this. It's just a matter of, like, I don't think he would have. It's too bad. It's now he's like 24 and he's stuck in jail for life. Check out Murder Under the Friday Night Lights, because there's a whole bunch of other stories that have to do with, like, with Texas, Tennessee, the area where football is huge and shit happens and you're like, why are kids so weird? Why is this generation so fucked?
It's the Tide Pods. I'm voting it's the Tide Pods.
It's the Tide Pods.
The Tide Pods kind of just infused themselves, and now
once those TikTok challenges started happening is when I noticed a big fucking change.
Do you remember the cinnamon challenge? That was like before TikTok. That was fucking all the YouTubers were doing it. Ew.
Yeah.
I could like die from that. Yes. You're stupid. Why is this fun?
You're dumb.
Yeah, you're dumb. Or the one where you had to eat like 20 saltines, like.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was bad too. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, I think you did a phenomenal job covering that story. The bloody socks could have been left out, but you know what? We love you anyway. For my case, we are heading to San Diego, California, girls. Okay, so I am covering the Whaley house, and it boasts the moniker that it is the most haunted house in America. And I feel like I've covered a few of these already, but hell, let's do one more. We'll just throw them on the list. It's cool.
Yeah. I love the Whaley house, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, okay, Thomas Whaley was born October 5th, 1823 in New York City, and as Jen always loves, he was the 7th child out of a family of 10. Bitch, we had babies! Oh. We had babies!
That's lots of children.
Lots of kids.
In families.
So, his early life is kind of all over the place. He was a businessman in New York. He took over the family business. Then there was the gold rush, so he went to California chasing gold. He didn't really, he was very prosperous. Like, I don't want to say he wasn't, like, but he wasn't like the gold miner guy. He was the guy catering to the gold miner guys. So then he went back to New York in 1853, and he found a wife, Anna Louise Delaunay. They get married. They have a beautiful wedding, and they move back to California. So now they're in San Diego. And on December 7th of 1853, that's when they move back. So they're in San Diego. It's like Old Town San Diego. So there's an Old Town and there's a New Town. And there's like a big rift between the two for some reason, even though it's all San Diego. But so he's in what is Old Town. And he's hanging out, and there's a hanging. Like NBD, you know, we're hanging some guy.
I mean.
Yeah, why not? And as he's standing there and he watches this poor Yankee Jim Robinson guy get hung, we're going to go back to him. We're going to talk about him later. But he watches this guy hang, and he's like, you know, this would be a great place for a house. Like, I'm going to buy this land, I'm going to build a house, and my family's going to live here. Like, what a great idea. No notes, right?
Know,
we're in.
You know. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, too.
I mean, who wouldn't want to demolish the Gallows Hill for my house? Come on. May 6th of 1856, Thomas designs and begins construction on the new Whaley family home. He said, quote, "My new house, when completed, will be the handsomest, most comfortable and convenient place in town within 150 miles of here." So humble. He's like on it. He's got this.
Yeah.
Once it was completed, it was furnished with mahogany and rosewood furniture, Brussels carpets. I don't really know what that means. And it cost more than $10,000 after completion. So in the grand old year of 2024, that would have been $344,768.27, which I kind of feel like is a steal for this house, because this house has shit going on. So it was also praised as the first of its kind and the finest home in Southern California.
So it was what he wanted it to be.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was the best house ever.
See, now, but here's my thing. Was that like a self-proclaimed thing? Because he was like super rich and he was like, yo, newspaper, write this down. Or like, did people actually think it was like a great place to live? Because like, if you go on and you see it, like, it's kind of unassuming. Like, for now, it's like kind of unassuming. It just looks like a house. And it was more than just the Whaley family home. So it also was the first commercial theater in San Diego, the second county courthouse of San Diego, and it had a bilingual general store. So,
cool.
They lived there, but then, you know, you had the general store, and then people were having, like, trials, and I guess they had to get hung at a different gallows hill now because the gallows were gone. But, yeah, like,
hey, you took our gallows.
Yeah, what do we do now? So, this was the first... Oh, this became the gathering place for all of San Diego, Old and New Town. Like, this was where you went. This was the hangout. We're partying. We're having great times. Huh. So, August 22nd, 1857, the Whaleys officially move into their new home, and it's actually called the Whaley House. So, it has always been called the Whaley House. So, Thomas and Anna Whaley had 6 children. You're welcome. Francis Hinton, Thomas Whaley Jr., Anna Amelia, George Hay, Ringgold, R-I-N-G-G-O-L-D, Ringgold, Violet Eloise, and Corinne Lillian. Pretty names. Like,
Violet's pretty.
I love that.
I don't know where Ringgold came from, but
I know
it's a color.
I kind of thought of what are the mums at Halloween, like that yellowy orangey. I don't know why that's what popped in my head when I said it, but that's like what I thought of.
I guess.
I mean, it's better than ringworm, so that's a...
You know what? That's fair.
Ringgold, I'll take it.
That's fair.
Thomas Whaley Jr., the baby, suffered from scarlet fever at 18 months and died on January 29th of 1858. In 1871, Anna Eloise was working in the, what is that called? The general store. So she's downstairs in the general store and she's working. And two armed men come in and hold her at gunpoint in her own house. The intruders demanded documents from the courthouse, and it's thought that this event, it was the downturn of not only the Whaley house, but the Whaley family.
What the You can't just... Okay, now this is where I'm stuck on this.
Oh, wait, there's more.
You can't go into a general store and be like, I need court documents. What?
Well, I mean, when the court's up like a flight of stairs and to the left, you can, apparently.
But she doesn't work at the court document place. She works at the general store. She sells candy.
I don't know, kid. Right. So... This is the downturn of the house as well as the family. So, January 5th of 1882, Violet Eloise Whaley married George T. Bodolici inside the family home. Sorry if I said that wrong. Unfortunately, about 2 weeks later, her new husband wrote her a letter and fled. He revealed that he was a con artist with a sordid past who had only married Violet for her dowry and a chance to inherit the Whaley fortune.
I hope someone freaking gave that guy some...
Well, so back
what
then...
What an asshole.
Yeah, so back then we didn't really get divorced and you really didn't break up. So he took off. At least he left her a note, like, so she wasn't like sitting there going, what happened to him? But, she was very embarrassed and depressed because now, she's married, but she can't have a husband. So even though he broke up with her and ran and took the money, she can never get married again. Like, she's going to be alone. So she shot herself in the chest with Thomas's .32 caliber rifle. She completed suicide on August 19th, 1885 at the age of 22. She left a suicide note, too. It reads...
Saying, fuck you, asshole.
Oh, my God, it would have been... Oh, beautiful. Her note read, that was Jen's note, but Violet's note read, mad from life's history, swift to death's mystery, glad to be hurled anywhere, anywhere, out of this world. So now the suicide note is a passage from Bridge of Sighs, a poem by Thomas Hood. And a fun fact, let's lighten the mood a little bit here, Edgar Allan Poe used to refer to this poem as a perfect example of painting with words. Yeah,
that's
so
cute.
I mean, it's not cute she killed herself, but you know what, there's your little fun fact.
That's
so now
not cute.
Now we're back up, we're happy. Woo! Okay, so then Corinne Lillian at this point was engaged to be married as well, but because of all of the scandal of, you know, dude leaving her sister killing herself, the fiance broke it off and ran as far away from the family as he could.
Come on.
So,
throw some balls.
After this tragic chain of events, Thomas Whaley builds a single-story frame home for his family in downtown San Diego and promptly moves the family to the new residence, thinking, we'll run from the bad and be done with it. This left the Whaley house vacant for over 20 years. And then Thomas Whaley died December 14th, 1890, just, you know, sick. Nothing like crazy. But the old Whaley house that kind of just sat there was, you know, in complete disrepair. They tried to sell it back to the county because, you know, it was a courthouse and it was the theater. And they kept trying to sell it back to the county, and the county's like, why should we pay you when we're using it anyway? You know? Ugh. But in 1909, Francis Whaley, the oldest son, undertook the restoration of the building and turned the home into a tourist attraction. And then he put up like a little sign in the window. It was like, come listen to my light jazz. And he'd like play like guitar for people.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. So fun. All right. So that's the history of the house. I kind of kept it brief, but now we're going to get into the hauntings and the ghosties because that's what we're all here for anyway. Let's be honest. So, although full apparitions are rarely seen on the property, there are plenty of other ghostly phenomena that people experience in the home. And now when I say people, I mean tourists, but also employees. So like employees know some of these spirits intimately. Mm-hmm. There are shadow figures, lights turning on and off by themselves. Doors and windows tend to open and close by themselves or by unseen forces. Crystals in the parlor room's lamp swing without any breeze or any sort of, you know, anything there to push it. There's a chandelier in the music room that also swings. There are strange smells, sights, and sounds that many visitors and employees have witnessed. Apparently, the courtroom is considered a portal, and they're saying, like, so the courtroom is, like, on the first floor on, like, one side. This house is kind of really hard. Like, if you haven't been there to, like... I've never been there, so I'm having like a hard time like figuring out how this is.
Right,
but
picturing.
Where the courtroom is on the property, apparently there used to be graves there, and they just kind of built over it.
I mean, that's what you do.
Why not? Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah. Indian burial ground.
I mean, Poltergeist. Let's go. Wait, was that Poltergeist?
Yeah,
that was that movie.
Yeah.
With the clown. Yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
So there's all that. Also, you know, on film, whether it be still or video, you get orbs, mists, hands coming out of, like, random walls. It's really creepy. Ugh. So, Thomas, when he was still alive and living in the Whaley house, he noticed the paranormal phenomena almost from the day they moved in. One day when all of his other family members were out, he heard heavy footsteps in the room right above him. So he went upstairs to check it out, and no one was there. This occurrence began to happen more and more often, and Thomas was convinced it was the spirit of Yankee Jim Robinson. So now this is the guy who he watched hang.
Yankee Jim.
This is the guy that he watched hang when he decided, wow, this would be a great yard.
This would be a great yard.
How
great this yard is.
What an amazing yard this is going to be. I can't wait to put my mums here, my golden ring rock, like, fucking things.
Maybe I'll move that hanging tree. And what the fuck?
Oh my God. So, Yankee Jim Robinson, let's talk about him for a hot second. So, he was a drunk and a horse thief. Just about everybody in both Old and Newtown hated him. And in 1852, Jim and two accomplices attempted to steal a schooner ship. Alright? So, once they got caught, because they got caught, Jim was like, dude, I wasn't stealing it. I was borrowing it.
Oh.
It didn't really work out so well for him. So, in the scuffle of them being captured, Yankee Jim got hit over the head by a rusty sword and had, like, a huge gouge and, like, this horrible injury. So, when his trial comes up, they didn't give him a lawyer, so he had no representation. And because of this, I can only picture a smelling, disgusting wound that he had in his head that's now infected and pussing.
Oh, yeah.
He had, like, a really horrible fever. Like, he's so sick from this injury, and he has nobody to help him. I know you're shocked, but he was found guilty. And because everybody hated him, this attempted stealing of a boat was enough for him to hang.
I mean, wouldn't that be freaking crazy if there was, like, a criminal, everyone just hated him, and they're like, you know what? Just throw him in the river. Like,
yeah, what do we need him for? No one's going to miss him. It's fine.
We don't like that person, so, oh my.
Well, my favorite is the other two guys who also did the same exact thing of trying to, like, attempting to steal this boat. They got sentenced to 1 year in prison.
Right, so. Did like the whole lawyer thing not exist back then, where like you were given?
I don't think that was really a thing back then, honestly.
All right, poor Jim. He didn't have a shot.
He pissed off the wrong people, apparently. So he gets sentenced to the gallows. Jim's hanging wasn't a pleasant one, so he was hung from the back of a car, and what that basically means is. He had, like, the noose put over his neck, and they kind of tied it to the back of, like, a bumper or a something, and then drove away. So it's not like his neck could break, like when you had, like, an actual gallows and you pull the lever, cronk. Like, it wasn't like that. It was very slow. His boots were kicking. Creepy, horrible death. Oh. And everybody watched.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. Because what else do you do on a Sunday? I mean,
that's what you do.
What the fuck? So that's how Yankee Jim passed away, unfortunately for him. But Lillian, one of Thomas's kids, also acknowledged the hauntings because she heard the footprints all the time. She heard stomping boots of Yankee Jim until she met her own end. Like, she kind of feels like Yankee Jim followed her.
Oh.
Creepy.
Huh.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Okay, so now the ghosts of the family. So it's thought that a lot of people, when they're walking by, specifically at night when everything's closed up and the attraction is done for the day, they'll see a woman looking out one of the front windows. And it's gotten to the point where people believe someone's broken into the Whaley house. So they'll call the police and nobody's there. Everything's locked up tight. Mm-hmm. There are also times where, everybody from the employee side, they'll shut up for the night, close all the windows, make sure all the doors are locked, and all of a sudden the alarm goes off in the middle of the night because all the doors and windows are open again. That's not creepy. It's okay.
No, it's great.
Totally fine.
Great.
I love
We're doing
this.
great here.
Oh my God, yeah.
We're doing great.
So now, it's thought that the woman in the window and the person who, opens all the doors and the windows is, the woman of the house. So was there Anna Whaley.
Oh.
She's coming in and kind of doing her little chores or whatever she did during the day and night. It's stuffy in here, open the doors. Some people also think it's Thomas just being an asshole.
I mean,
why not?
That's fair.
Why not? Baby Thomas Whaley, the 18-month-old, haunts the halls. His apparition has never been seen, but people claim to hear his tiny running footsteps all through the house. They've also heard him crying or giggling. Yeah, more residual than other things. He doesn't answer or anything.
Yeah.
There's also an older man who's been seen standing in front of the window of the house. Children can see him and they wave at him. This is thought to be Thomas Whaley himself. He's also seen in the upper landing with his face turned away from the crowd, and then he'll slowly fade away. So now, and that's why we drink, because we all know how much I love this show. Christine, both of them have been there, Christine and M. But on one of the tours that Christine went, she's like, we're on this tour, and there's like 10 or whatever of us, and there's this little kid who's kind of like mouthy, and he keeps like talking, so I really can't hear what's going on. This kid's annoying me. But as they're, a ladybug. Sorry. As they're going through the tour, out of the corner of her eye, she sees someone who's in like period clothing walk from one room into another on the upper floor. So there's stairs that go up, and like you can look over the railing and look down, right? So she sees someone come from one side of that hallway to the other and go into a room. And she didn't really say anything. She just kind of like tagged it in her mind and was like, fine. Well, the little kid's like, who was that up there? And Christine's like, yeah, I saw them. They're probably from another tour. Like, just let it go. So, like, the tour person could keep going. And
shut up, Leo Slit.
Yeah, shush. Shut the fuck up. And then the tour human who's, like, giving the tour was like, we're the only people in the house right now because the house isn't big enough to do multiple tours. So then she's like, okay, what did you see? And, you know, the kid's like, there was a man and he walked over there. And then the tour guide looked at Christine, and Christine was like, yeah, I saw a guy in, like, a blue house coat walk from that room into that room. And apparently it was, you know, probably Thomas Whaley walking from one room into his study or his bedroom, one or the other. Many have seen Thomas dressed in his frock, coat, and top hat standing at the top of the stairs or on the stairwell. Anna Eloise Whaley also hangs around. She is seen downstairs and also in the garden. And Violet has been seen on the second floor. And usually when she's around, her presence is cold and you start to feel really sad, like depressed, melancholy, shit like that. Also, the women of the house are seen in mirrors. So, like, there are 2 or 3 mirrors throughout the house. And if, like, you take pictures, it's not uncommon to get, like, a picture of her or, like, one of the women of the house over your shoulder. They can't, like, I'm sure some of it's matrixing, like, I'm going to be honest. But at the same time, like, it's not clear enough to see which women. You just see like feminine features. So creepy.
People like mirrors. The Myrtles plantation did the mirror thing too, so that's
well, I mean, what is it, is it a Jewish custom, an Amish custom? It's one of those customs that, like, you know, when people die, you cover the mirrors so their souls don't get stuck in the mirrors. Creepy. I don't love that. So now, women who are not part of the family. There's a woman in a long skirt. She's often seen in the courtroom. She hides her long, dark hair under a hat, but she wears gold earrings. And she's also kind of looks like a mist figure. So either you'll see her as, like, the full apparition hanging out there, or you'll see like a mist woman in the corner.
Oh, okay.
That's not creepy. There's also a young, long-haired girl who's been seen running around in the dining room. It's thought her name could have been Annabelle Washburn. She was a friend of the Whaley girl daughters when they were kids, and she broke her neck on the property. So the story I've heard is that she was outside running, and there was a low-hanging clothesline. And
oh my god.
The general store had just finished cooking cookies, like baking cookies.
Oh my god.
And she went sprinting to go get some cookies and literally clotheslined herself and broke her neck. So then Thomas Whaley found her and picked her up and brought her into the dining room and laid her on the table to, like, get help for her, and she died on the table in the dining room. So now she runs around in the dining room.
Oh my god. That's just a perfect storm of everything that could possibly go wrong.
I mean...
Oh my god.
I would kind of... I could definitely see me going this way. Like, oh my god, cookies! And, like, not thinking and just, like, dead in a wall. I could definitely see me going this way. Like, I can't lie. Like, oh my god, let's get cookies! Like... But
it would be that. Like, it would, for me, it would be something
I mean,
like
but think about how horrible it is, like, a billion years later, and you're still running around the dining room, and you still never got your fucking cookie.
You know what? That's fair.
I think that's the worst part. Like, I can get over the bloody socks if you just give me my fucking cookie!
Bloody socks!
Shit! Okay. And now, like, I believe it's confirmed the part about, like, she ran into a low-lying clothesline. I'm not sure if the cookie part is 110% true, but
right, but that's crazy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's also a small spotted dog, like a little terrier, that runs around, and you'll like see it, hear it, feel it, different ways. But apparently when you do see it, it has big floppy ears, and there is a fact that the Whaleys owned a dog named Dolly Varden, so it could be the Whaleys' old family pet.
Aww.
So, our best friends, our favorite paranormal investigator and his Ghost Adventures crew have been here. I know, you're shocked.
Zach Bagans.
I literally wrote, insert Zach Bagans impression right here. So, perfect timing, Jennifer.
I used to be a skeptic.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
I love that so much.
It's so funny.
Oh
my god.
I'm gonna be honest, I've seen this episode a million times, so I didn't rewatch it. But so they get the unexplained noises, thumps, boot steps. The EVP says no power. So I don't remember which room it was in, but I'm not quite sure if they meant no power in the house, because back in the day they probably wouldn't have power at certain times, it had to be updated. Or, if they were in the courtroom and they were trying to go through, is this a portal? There's no power here, you have no power here, you can't do anything here, or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's known by, and this was really talked about in the episode, it's known to employees. The Whaley house has daily tours. Obviously, it's a historic tour, and they bring you through everything. But they also have nightly ghost tours, and you can rent the place out for paranormal investigating like this. I'm not going to say it's a ghost lab like, Velisca or the Sally house or anything like that.
Right.
However, this is another place where if you are going to do your paranormal investigation, you kind of know who's there, you know who the players are, you have a general idea of what's going to happen. So you're not as concerned. But it's known by employees that, the alarm every night goes off at a specific time. That's just how their timer is. It's a set thing. Every night at, let's say, 3, 4 in the morning, the alarm's going to go off for the company. So they do their little check and everything's great. Mm-hmm. However, when there are paranormal investigators in the building and the ghosts are done with them, the ghost will set off the alarm prior to the actual scheduled alarm. And...
be like, goodbye.
We're fucking done with you. And unfortunately for the Ghost Adventures crew, about 1 a.m., the alarm goes off, and they're like, can y'all get the fuck out? We're good. You can go.
We're done with you.
Yeah. Thank you. Don't come back. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
So funny.
They got some disembodied voices, one that they can make out that says voice. And then at some point... our buddy Zach, who just loves to rile everybody up, says something to the effect that he feels like there are nails going up and down his back just over and over again. And as he's singing this, they have the full spectrum camera, and they capture a hand right after Zach says, I feel nails going down my back. So on the full spectrum camera, they have a hand with a claw kind of look in that same general vicinity.
Huh.
I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to talk about this part because I don't know how other podcasts have done this, but there's one specific podcast that we love, and I went to one of their live shows, and they had gone to the Whaley house and done their own investigating, which was amazing. And I do remember, I forget the Estes method, I believe it's called. So I believe it's called the Estes method, and it's a way to communicate. So what the Estes method is you cover your eyes, right? So you're blacked out, and then you also wear noise canceling headphones. Yes. And it has the white noise, the and you put that on. So you can't hear what people are asking outside of you. You can hear the responses, apparently. So it's like having a ghost box there, but it's in your ears, and your main job is to be the conduit, extra power for spirits to speak to you. Mm-hmm. And when I went and saw this fantastic, absolutely amazing, I love them podcast on one of their tours, they went and they did this Ested method specifically in the courtroom. And I'm not going to give it all away because I'm not quite sure if they have their show on Patreon or anything like that. If you can go back and watch it now and pay for it, then go pay for it if you can figure out who I'm talking about.
Right.
But I can tell you that through this 2-hour show that I sat there watching, I was actually like had goosebumps as they were sitting doing the Estes method in the courtroom. So if you can go do that, great. If not, I'm so sorry if I'm getting you like all excited to go see this. But it was absolutely phenomenal. So if you can figure out what podcast I'm talking about and you can figure out what tour I'm talking about, go to their Patreon, go watch this thing, and I can honestly say, sitting in the seats, and I am like a ghosty human, I was getting goosebumps and getting nervous sitting there listening to what was going on. So that's the most I can give away. That's the most I feel comfortable giving away, and I hope I didn't like break any rules. But that's the Whaley House. So like I said, San Diego, they are open for daily tours. They are open for ghost tours. They are also, if you want to pay a lot of money, you can rent out the whole place and do a paranormal investigation. And one day I hope to do that. Yeah. But that's the Whaley House.
That's crazy with the Estes method because I've seen that done a lot on the different shows, different stuff. And sometimes it is completely random. Yeah. They're asking specific questions and it's just like it's nonsensical. But the fact that you're like, there was something there. Like, it's sometimes you get the answer you're looking for and you're just like, holy shit. It just
They do it a lot. If you want a very good example of it, they do it a lot on Portals to Hell with Katrina Whitman, I believe her last name is, and Jack Osborne. They use it a lot there. That's something that they really like to do. And I honestly think it's one of the better ways to communicate. I see a lot. I'm really terrified to do it. I've never tried it myself. But it definitely seems to work the best.
Yeah, there's one YouTube group that does it a lot. And it's interesting because sometimes it is absolute nonsense that you're just getting from the white noise. But then there are other things where it's like, tell me what my name is, and it'll give you the exact name of the person. And it's just so creepy. So,
yeah. So, well, what I learned today is don't wear socks when you're murdering people. And watch out for clotheslines when there are fresh baked cookies involved.
Jesus Christ. Holy God. I think I learned not to build a house based on after somebody's just been murdered in front of me. Like, you know what I want to do? I want to take this yard. I have so many ideas for this house. I'm going to take down the gallows tree. I'm going to... What?
Oh my God.
How is that your thought while you get someone like... You know what? There's
home is where the heart is. I don't know what to tell you.
There's different kinds of people in this world, and honestly, like maybe that just made him go.
I mean, wait a minute.
This house more.
Time out. Let's think about this rationally. We live in New England. Mm-hmm. You realize, like, our houses are probably somehow built on some form of graveyard in some way, shape, or form. Something has died under our house. Granted, we didn't watch it happen.
But people weren't like watching these people get continuously hanged and then go, you know what, this would be a great place to raise a family. You know?
What a great neighborhood. The neighbors are quiet. I mean, they're all dead anyway.
It's a wonderful neighborhood.
Yeah, I can't wait. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll just move those headstones. It's not good.
I mean, it's fine. They're just an eyesore in our garden.
Yeah, we can get rid of those. I mean, we can decorate them. We can put some morning glories on those. That'll be fine. Oh, little creepy factor for Halloween. You know, the kids will love it.
They'll love it.
They'll just love it.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Oh.
The clothesline thing really just got me because I just am picturing like freaking WWE, like freaking clothesline from hell, just through someone's head, like what? Jesus Christ!
I can hear the noise.
Oh my God.
All right, well,
that was fun.
This was a good time. Thank you so much for joining us again. Make sure that you are following us on social media, rate, review, subscribe, hit the little bell on the YouTube. Also, if you want to join our Patreon where we have a ton of stuff. I know we talked about the Lizzie Borden case today, but go over to Patreon and join over there. You get all the content that's over there. We put out at least 2 new episodes every month. Not to mention our graveyard chats and bloopers and whatever else, I screw up gets put over there. We also have merch, so if you want to get like a cool t-shirt or a mug that says something stupid that we say all the time, go over there too. Go to our website. It's deathbeforebooze.com, and then click on Patreon for Patreon or merch for merch. Feel free to send us an email if you want to tell us about how great we did, or correct us, or leave us notes and love notes. I love those too. Other than that, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Bye bye.
Okay. Stay spooky, guys.